Welcome back. You're watching France 24 and it's time for Media Watch. James Creedon is here with the highlights of the press today. Hi, James.
Evening, Lana.
And we start with Libya, where we look at another conflict, not quite the war between Gaddafi's supporters and rebel supporters, but the fight for various business contracts that are up for grabs.
That's right. I mean, I suppose the end is now nigh in Libya, and already, if not, I think it's probably already happened in some senses, contracts have been concluded for oil, etc., but also for the reconstruction of infrastructure in Libya. And the two countries that really are going head to head over this are France and Italy. Now, Italy was the former colonial power in Libya and had something like 180 businesses present in the country before revolutionary movements started there about 6 months ago. So it was probably the European country with the most business interests in Libya, partly because it was the former colonial power, I suppose. But France was one of the first countries to support the NTC. It was the first country to recognise officially the NTC. So that is probably going to favour France in terms of getting deals for reconstruction of infrastructure over Italy. But then Berlusconi was trying to, I suppose, make up for lost ground, and he was one of the first to announce a large amount of money to be transferred for the NTC. So lots of vying there for those business interests in Libya.
More interesting content on Libya today about the political future of the country once the political transition gets underway. Some are nervous that Islamists could be among the NTC supporters.
Absolutely, and indeed one name in particular is coming up, Abdel Hakim Belhaj. Now, he is the de facto military governor of Tripoli at the moment. He was one of the chief people behind the toppling of Gaddafi's compound. He's well known to the CIA, in fact, because he was arrested back in 2003 for being an Islamist. He was the head, or the emir, as he was known, of the Libyan Islamist fighting group. Now, that was a Salafist group with an ultra-radical leaning. They had two camps in Afghanistan before the Taliban was toppled there. And now Saif al-Islam gave this group of people an amnesty in 2010. But I suppose the question now is how the West is going to deal with people who've had such close alliances with radical Islam.
And the situation is still so murky in Libya at the moment that it all remains to be seen, right?
Exactly.
Before the dust settles, it's going to take
It's not
weeks,
just
if
goodies
not
versus
months.
baddies. It's a much more complex picture than that, I think.
We're moving on now to French politics. The Socialist Party is holding its annual summer convention before the political year begins, but it seems like it's already begun, hasn't it?
That's right. I mean, it's on the front page of Le Monde. You can see Martine Aubry and François Hollande and Ségolène Royal and a lot of the front runners, I suppose, in that photo in La Rochelle. It's the sort of summer convention before the beginning of the political year, and the Socialists are, of course, hoping to get into power this time round. So here you have Martine Aubry. There's a photo in Le Monde's blog. One of the things that she's doing is she has Yes We Care t-shirt campaign. Now, this
obviously inspired by Barack Obama's famous slogan.
Right? Suspiciously similar to Yes We Can. And so, I mean, it's not lacking a lot of imagination, you would tend to think. So that's one of her bids. She's also planning to write a letter to the French people. This is another tactic up her sleeve, and 1 million copies have already been spread. But coming back to that t-shirt, interestingly, we saw t-shirts such as this not so long ago. This was Strauss-Kahn's campaign.
Also inspired by Barack Obama's campaign poster. It seems there's a bit of a theme there.
A lack of imagination as well in the Socialist Party.
Or some sort of fascination, maybe. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. You see them here. And the most interesting thing about this is that they're still available for purchase, even though Dominic Strauss-Kahn's political ambitions are well finished for now.
I think he's been knocked out of the race for the time being.
So $14.95 for a bit of social, what would you say, socialist political
T-shirt
history.
Action.
Exactly. I might even purchase one myself. So there you go.
And The Economist is also talking about France's socialists.
That's right. Now, just a very quick look at what they've done. They've put a cartoon together with a dinosaur. I think we have it in graphic form. It shows basically a dinosaur with a beret, a cravat, and a gitane.
And smoking. All the best cliches about France.
Basically. And I think what they're trying to say there is that the French opposition, the Socialist Party, is kind of in the grip of dinosaurs, of old political hacks from the Mitterrand era. And they should leave people like Manuel Valls, who's 49, through, because of course he's in favour of raising the retirement age, and less lefty sort of policies, which suits The Guardian or The Economist very well, being a kind of right-leaning magazine.
And Manuel Valls, at 49, is one of the younger figures in the Socialist Party.
Exactly. So there's some photos as well I wanted to show you, Lana, before we go.
Yeah, we just have the time for that.
This is coming up to the Visa International Photojournalism Festival this weekend in Perpignan, and it's quite a extraordinary. We'll just have a look at some of those photos. These are taken by the photographer, by a photographer in Sierra Leone, in Freetown. Now, the first one shows the prison of Pademba, and basically the headline there is "In Hell." Now, this is a prison where you have 65 different prisoners for 25 meters squared, per 25 meters squared, which is just incredibly bad conditions. We can see that in the next photo.
Which is a very shocking one, if we can have
Absolutely. And the next photo shows the cramped conditions that these prisoners are in. And if we have a look at the following photo, it shows the appalling administration in this prison, where it's impossible to get files of any of these prisoners. It's just impossible to locate them. The next photo again shows just a 14-year-old boy by the name of Ibrahim, who is accused of having stolen the sandals of, I think, the guy who's grabbing him by the head. So just an absolutely nightmarish
really
situation.
Appalling conditions there.
An absolutely nightmare situation, and incredible photos to be seen down in Perpignan this weekend. So another way of viewing, I suppose, crisis-ridden countries through photography. Often a picture, I guess, speaks 1,000 words.
All right, well, thanks for bringing us these pictures. James Creedon, that was Media Watch on France 24. Do stay with us. Up next is Web News. Stay tuned.